All right, welcome. Just rambling down the road here. Just gonna do a little vlogging. I know this is kind of an odd time for me to be live, but just driving. Just driving along the middle of nowhere where I got very spotty service, so hopefully you don't see too much buffering and whatnot. But I just thought, yeah, what the heck, I got nothing else to do. We'll go live. And hopefully it's not too loud in here with the wind noise and such. It's awful windy out, so it's kind of windy. So hopefully there's just not a lot of too much road noise. Plus, driving in the pickup here, off to do, and I'll try to watch the chat. Hey, what's up there? I didn't catch your name. It doesn't stay on screen a lot. Comment again there, and I'll catch you the next time. I'll give you a shout out. But I got at least one person in there watching. I'll take some questions. We'll just talk about things. I don't know. I guess one of the things I was going to kind of talk about is just a little bit of the channel stuff. Been doing a little bit of the diorama type things and a little model building and such. And that's what I've been kind of interested in right now. And that's my channel. Just kind of doing what I want when I want. I know that isn't great for growing. Okay, Kevin Jones. All right, you've been, you're a subscriber. You're a regular viewer on some of my live streams. Welcome in. You must have rung that bell and got the notification that I went live here. So, well, anyway, that brings up, you know, you guys can support me via Super Chat, little dollar sign down at the bottom there if you'd like. And you never have to do that, but you can donate as little as $1 and it'll highlight your comment there, give you an extra shout out. Oh, we got a couple more people in there, so if there's whoever's in there, say hello in the chat. We already got one in there. But I was going on about the channel and doing some of that stuff, but I am working on some videos in the background, another toy restoration that I'm kind of just a little, just going slow, working on a little bit here and there. I got not a lot of time for that sometimes, but one thing I am doing is working on another carburetor, or well, it's around carburation, jetting, different types of carburetors. A video on that. It's going to be informative because I still get a lot of questions about, you know, jetting and lean and ridge and how to know, and hey, my bike doesn't start, or it doesn't run doesn't run right. And I made a bunch of other videos about this, but you know, I think I could probably explain it better. Seems like a lot of people find my carburetor videos, or find my channel if they're looking for carburetor stuff, through the idle mixture adjustment video. And that was the very first video I made about that sort of topic. I can't remember when I exactly made it. I know I uploaded to YouTube sometime like 2011, or I think. But I actually made it a long time before that, and it actually was on another platform, not YouTube at the time, because that's when I made it. It was on Blip TV, which is now a defunct website that went out of business in 2015. But anyway, then I put it up on YouTube, and it got a lot of traction. A lot of people find it there, and I think a lot of people that are unfamiliar with carburetors and such, and it seems like it is a lot of overseas. I'm in the US, so overseas, Europe, Asia, India, such, and you know, that video must get recommended quite a bit. Well, actually, I kind of know it does, because of the analytics tell me this stuff. But so, you know, it's probably their primary mode of transportation, this motorcycle, scooter, what have you. and they might not be knowledgeable, and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. That's what the website is. I have a page just dedicated through that, but the idea is you kind of got to learn about the carburetor, how it functions, what each setting does as far as jetting, and then you can kind of work backwards to, well, what symptoms am I having, and then by having the symptoms, then you can diagnose, well, where to attack the problem first. But you have to have a few base settings taken care of first, and that idle mixture is kind of one of those, because I think it's one of the more easier ones to sort of get a grasp on, because the throttle's closed, it's idle speed, and you're just worrying about one little adjustment. And anyway, but I think because it says mixture in there, or air, because there's two different types of screw adjustments for the idle mixture. One is an air and one is a fuel. I think people get a little mixed up with the term air fuel mixture, so they think, oh, this video tells me all about how to adjust the air fuel mixture for my carburetor. That's it, and that's not true. It is true for more like stationary engines, like your lawnmowers and generators or something like that, where an engine runs at a constant speed and they have a very simplistic carburetor. Yes, there is a screw that adjusts your mixture, but it's adjusting the mixture at a constant RPM, because those engines are designed to really only run at 1 RPM at full throttle, or, well, basically full throttle. And I think a few people get that confused, and rightly so. It would be, if you didn't know anything about it, you just hear the term mixture, it's like, well, I know that's what I'm having a problem with. A lot of people can kind of deduce that it's probably a mixture problem. There's a reason it doesn't run right. Well, that's a big symptom of why a motorcycle might not run right, especially with a carburetor. Electronic fuel injection, now it's another story. Something I don't get into much because I don't have any bikes. Well, I do have electronic fuel injected bikes, but I just, they're kind of, they don't have the same problems that a carburetor does, because a carburetor runs off of atmospheric pressures and pressure differentials, and I think the physics there is not something that everybody knows. I mean, sure, you may learn that in school, but not a lot of people retain it. It's not something you use in your daily life, so I think that's where a lot of the confusion is. Roundabout way, I'm making some videos that kind of break this down even more. I did make one video where I thought I was kind of covering the bases. Maybe it's just not enough people see it first, where I explain, each throttle opening of the carburetor. Well, I didn't dive into all the settings, because I just wanted to be like, well, this is what's happening in all the settings, at all the throttle openings. And then I thought, well, that video does good. A lot of interaction, a lot of questions on there, a lot of positive, hey, this helped me understand this, so I could take the next step, and then now let's change something and see what happens. But I know if you're a true novice, you're not going to get to that level with that video. I understand that more now than I did when I made it, and I guess I fall into the trap that a lot of people do, that everybody, I'm generalizing here, that everybody thinks like me, or analyzes things like I do, I guess, when it comes to, or is curious to research this stuff. That's the way I know it, and such, is I researched it, and then just a lot of experience too. But anyway, these little videos, and they got some animations that go with it, are going to, I hope, help break it down because there's a lot of videos discussing the function of the carburetor, but I feel a lot of them get a little too wordy, get a little too, how should I say, they use some esoteric terms at times that, again, novices, that's what I'm focusing on, is the novices. Because if you understand how a carburetor works, you're generally not, searching on YouTube for how to jet, because if you know how the carburetor works and understand what the goal the carburetor is trying to achieve there, or the designers of the carburetor are trying to achieve, the rest of it is just playing around with the settings and kind of using a scientific method of change one thing at a time, test, see if you noticed a difference. If you did, what kind of difference did you notice, good or bad, and then kind of chart your progress as you go. And that's another thing that I know people get sucked into. They don't want to do that work. And granted, if you just want the thing to run, and you're not naturally mechanically inclined, of course, you're just gonna want somebody to tell you what the problem is and be on your way. The problem is over the internet, something like this, there's a lot of some assumptions that have to be made to hone in on what setting could change or should change. And I know I might have steered people in a route that kind of meanders along and eventually gets to the end, but that's because I started on a premise different than what reality was for the person asking the question, and that's because the person asking the question, it can't necessarily articulate where the starting spot is. They may think, well, just one day just quit working, or it didn't quit starting easily. And boy, there's a lot of things that can cause that. My mind first goes to, well, has it been sitting? Those are some probing questions, but if I don't get this kind of information, I have to go on the guess that, all right, it's using fresh fuel, and all this other stuff is good. The carburetor's clean, the this, the that, and everything. So I'm going to say, hey, there's dirt in the fuel tank, in the fuel line, in the fuel filter, in hanging up the needle valve. When in reality, because I can't see it and they can't articulate it and don't know to articulate this, oh, this has been sitting for 2 years. I think and if I knew that premise, then I would, my beginning advice would be totally different. And actually, that's why I generally start from a position of, all right, you're having a problem, it doesn't start, or it doesn't run right, or it doesn't idle correctly. See, a lot of people want me to just tell them, well, how far out should I turn the idle mixture screw? Yeah, thanks for Kevin for hopping in. But I can't really tell them that because A, I don't even know if the pilot jet that's in there is that the stock one. Is somebody changed that? A lot of times they don't know. I just don't know where my baselines are, so it's really hard to just turn around and say, oh yeah, just turn it 1 1/4 turns out, you'll be good, Now that's why I made that first video, honestly. But then even in that video, of course, I made a comment like, okay, you need to have the fuel system clean and everything before you even start this. And everybody's definition of I clean the carburetor is a little different. I found out that at times when people say, oh, I've cleaned the carburetor, meaning they took some carburetor cleaner and just hosed off the outside of it. That's cleaning the carburetor, people. No, it's someone it's something totally different. You know, you have to disassemble this, and that's another thing is, even when I say, okay, disassemble the carburetor, clean it out, make sure all the passages are clean, you know, soak it if you have to, whatever. I don't know how well they've actually done that. I have to make the assumption that they have done that, and then they tell me this, that, and the other. And we get down the way, and I tell them to change all this. It's like, okay, well, it still seems like it's not getting enough fuel. Go higher on this jet. Go higher on this jet. Open this up or open that up. Maybe your float level and all this stuff, and it never gets better. And then, you know, after, could be days going back and forth in the comments on things, then somebody realizes, or they make a comment. It's like, oh, I never took. Somehow they say, oh well, I never actually took the carburetor off, or I just took the float bowl off. I didn't take any of the parts out, and I kind of roll my eyes when I read that. And it's like, well, we could have saved a lot of back and forth if you would have started there, because then it's like, okay, they finally decided to pull the pilot or the main jet out, or the pilot jet out, and realized it was all gunked up, or in the process of pulling it out, it got cleared up, and you know, and then they shot some carburetor cleaner or something, and then voila, it's running, and now we're into the fine-tuning stages. So it's, you know, it's very hard being on the internet, and I'm not the only one that struggles with this, that makes these kind of motorcycle how-to, or has these motorcycle how-to videos. I see the comments on theirs too, and they're going through the same thing as me as well. So roundabout way, I'm just saying I'm working on some other videos, and I can't decide if I want to put them in a big long video, all these clips, or if I should release them as short little clips. I mean, technically YouTube now likes longer form content, keep you on the website longer, and then they recommend you more. Short clips don't always get recommended as much because, well, you watch for 2 minutes, it's a 2-minute and 30-second video, you watch about 2 minutes, which is most of the video, and then you're clicking away, and potentially clicking off away from the website, away from YouTube. So I don't know, I'm still going to make them, but I just can't decide which way to go. I'm leaning towards the short clips about each little segment, because then people can watch little bite-sized parts about what they're trying to learn about, or what adjustment they're trying to understand, so they know where to start with the jetting. However, that said, okay, let's say I have 5 little 3 to 5 minute clips, under 5 minute videos, with some animation and some explanation. All right, somebody comes in on one that talks about the jet needle position, and they're watching that and they're like, oh, okay, well, I understand that. Is that my problem? And even when they're having a problem with idle speed, or low throttle openings, or something of that nature, or a high or wide open throttle and stuff, well, no, you need to actually go to this video, and it talks about the main jet and stuff. Well, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. I just don't know which way to go on this, because if I make it an all-long video, I guess I could put timestamps in where each little setting and each little each little each little setting falls in the video. And then I don't know, if you're on mobile, do you really see that? Do you really utilize that? I mean, I know I do when I watch on desktop for sure, and I know I do in mobile, but I don't know if other people do. I see we have some people in the chat, man. It's hard for me to keep up, so you need, because your comments don't stay on the screen very long, and you know, I want to keep the eyes on the road more than watching for comments. Don't forget the super chat. You can donate as little as $1 and support me, and helps me make these. I am running off of Wi-Fi or data, Wi-Fi data, mobile mobile data. So you might get some buffering. Hopefully the stream is real nice. But say hello in the chat. I know a few people have said hello, and I think I probably missed them. So say howdy again. I'll give you a shout out. Nice. Yeah, keep my eyeballs peeled. And one of my friends told me about my stream. Who's that? I guess I'm not catching that comment. I'll have to watch the chat. I'll have to watch the chat replay later to see what everybody's saying. But just rolling through a town here. So I'm going kind of slow. Oh, Joe. Joe, your friend told me, and I'm not sure who that would be. But thank you very much. Name is escaping me, but I probably know him, or know his username if he's a regular in my streams and my chat. And this is a odd time for me to be streaming, but I'm out here in Timbuktu, and nothing else to do. There's no radio stations. Even the talk radio on the AM dial won't even reach this far, other than farm radio, which I got enough of that growing up. So anyway, it's going back to the carburetor videos and stuff. So those are in the works. I don't know when I'm going to get those released. I should try to get them released before for November, December, because that's the big months you want to get your content out, because that's when the ad rates are the highest and stuff. See, I don't do this YouTube thing very, very good. Like, I know all the things I should do to be more successful and all this. It's just I don't want to exactly just blanket and say it's laziness. That'd be the easy way out to say it. It is a lot of work to do it the quote unquote right way for maximum revenue and views and viewership and everything. I guess I just do it on my own time, and like I said, my channel somewhat suffers because of it. Because I don't follow it like I should. But like I said, it's just a hobby, and I appreciate that anyone even watches, and people donate through Super Chat all the time. When I stream, I usually get at least one, $1 or something in there, and that still blows my mind that people do that. I do it to other creators. I do support other creators that way. When they're on stream and such, I'll tap in there and I'll throw them a couple bucks, and same with Patreon and all that. But hopefully I am providing some valuable content with my regular videos, and even these streams, just the natural talking about it. I'm hoping I'm providing some value to the community, and I guess that's really why I'm doing it. When I do get those videos out, whether it be a motorcycle repair, motorcycle restoration, toy restoration, or these diorama builds, or just these kind of vlogging videos, I'm hoping that people are picking up on something that will, I use the word inspire, a lot of people use the word inspire, but just get them to just start, I guess maybe, and just start the project, whatever it is. Especially like the toy restorations. I'm doing those for a purpose, storing toys for my son to play with, and I get a kick out of him playing with them. Yeah, they get scratched up and everything. Maybe along the way, maybe a year or so more down the road, I'll do more of a kind of a, I guess maybe a where are they now. I could do like a where are they now, so you can see Well, all right. Here's what it looked like when it was done. You know, you guys saw that video. Here's what it looks like now after it's been played with. I don't know. That might be a good video that maybe some people might want to watch. But I am really, really intrigued by the community that's sprung up around just restoration in general. Because I did my first motorcycle restoration videos, that my Barn Fresh series. I think the uploads show in sometime like 2014, maybe 2013, 2014. But I actually made those back in 2010. So, you know, we're getting close to, we are getting close to 10 years on those, since I did those videos. And those were the first videos I really planned those out. I think I've told this story before. If not, I'll tell it again. The story goes is I was writing freelance articles for ATV magazine in the mid 2000s up until it went defunct in about 2010, I think, actually. Anyway, I was writing articles and such, and that was centered around like four-wheelers and things. And I'm a motorcycle guy, but it was kind of tech, how to, things to think about, somewhat centered around racing and such, because I was doing my own racing at the time. So it was about there was a lot of performance, kind of DIY, at-home garage performance tricks or tips, and just things to think about, you know, suspension setup and stuff. So anyway, I was doing that, you know, and of course that was in written form. And this is, you know, YouTube was around, but it just was getting going. I had just started my channel back in the beginning of 2006. So YouTube's only been online kind of to the general and major public for really only several months, maybe 6 months at most, when I started my channel. And that was purely just to upload some videos I made just to share to family, literally family. I wasn't even thinking about that it's shared to the world or anything like that. It was, hey, here's finally a way I can share these VHS videos that I've edited together. And then also I finally got a PC so I can edit them non-linearly. And I started a channel upload there. I'm going to take a break here. Somebody made a comment. They had a 93 Yamaha. I didn't catch the model, so I didn't pop in there. But you're starting a project. Great. You know, if you feel compelled, feel like you can do it, you can use your phone, make some videos about it. You know, show yourself talking about it. An RT. Something about checking the compression. Oh man, this is really tough. I almost need another person to be able to watch the chat and feed me the question, especially if you're doing it this way. Normally I do this using a full-blown PC, dual monitors, a couple cameras, and all that. If you've been in my streams before, you know that. So I can see the chat going. I almost never use my phone like this. Anyway. I don't know what your question is, so I guess I can't really answer it. But great. You know, make some videos. Just make some vlogging type like this. Short little vlogs. You know, you don't have to show your face, but don't be waving the camera around doing it. Just kind of have it set still, but at least have the shot frame halfway decent so we can see what you're talking about, and go for it. Just make a little series about it, you know. There's a lot of people out there that do that. Sure, the video is not going to get a terrible amount of views, but you know what? You'll be surprised. You'll get a couple hundred views out of it, and a few comments are like, "Oh, great work!" You know, somebody will see what you're doing, and they'll be like, "I have a bike like that," and they'll give you some tips, you know. But anyway, going back to my story, kind of sidetracked there, of course. So I just started my channel, sharing them out, but I was writing these articles about this tech and stuff, and that's when the article or the idea was like, well, because I was doing it for the ATVs, and I'm not a big ATV fan, never was, but I don't dislike them. I had the idea that it's like, well, what if I did kind of a sort of a restoration, or I buy a non-running, actually the idea was buy a non-running ATV and fix it up and get it to run so it's usable. We're not talking full-blown restoration, repainting everything and brand new this, brand new, not showroom, but I was just like, hey, here you go, buy a $100, $300 ATV, something, looks pretty ratted, and go through the process of getting it back up and running so you can use it right, And then later I could show, like, okay, here's some tips for fixing plastic or something, rather than just like what most people do, duct tape, or it is clever, but stitching it together with zip ties, which that's in a pinch when that's all you got. That is perfectly fine, but I'm always looking for a little longer term solution there, and there kind of is. Maybe I should make a video on that. I don't know that that's something I've ever seen out there. I'm sure it does exist these days, but anyway. But I was like, well, what? I don't have an ATV, and kind of was looking around. I wasn't really finding a good candidate, because either it was truly a basket case, which I didn't want to show basket cases, because then some people could get a little overconfident and think, oh, well, I got this on trade. I traded my PlayStation 2 for this, and then realize that they're going to have to spend $2,000 to even get it into a, well, maybe not exactly $2,000, but at least well over $1,000 to get it into even a safe rideable condition. And a lot of that would have been gone. A lot of that money would have been gone to tires, because if you're trading for something like that, I've seen it. ATV tires, it's ones they've been sitting flat forever, and they're just not. Even if you put tubes in them, just not the safest thing. And I couldn't condone that. Even though I've done it myself, it's just I couldn't condone the whole world to do something like that. So I couldn't really find something that was worthy, and I was like, well, I got all these bikes that I bought, and just not got time to do them. Let's take one of those. And that's when I decided, well, I'm going to do the big one, because it's a bike that has an interesting kind of history and some notoriety. And I thought, you know what? And it's one I've wanted to fix up. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So I began doing it, filming it. 6 months later of working virtually every night on 3-4 hours a night, and then sometimes putting in all days on the weekends. That's including filming, and then taking all that footage, putting it into little episodes, and then releasing it weekly through a specific website, not YouTube, but Blip TV. Probably should have done originally even on YouTube, just because. But see, at the time, this other platform was kind of better for that episodic content, and that's what they wanted. And so they were helping promote it out and all this. So it was kind of the best platform at that time for something like that. Well, and then I decided, well, I should release it on YouTube. Well, I had to re-edit some stuff for upload to YouTube, because there was some somewhere around the musical stuff because of the content ID. Even though I was royalty free, there's some scumbags on YouTube that take royalty free and then they content claim it and stuff. So anyway, re-edit it, put it up on there. But really, that's where the that's where the whole idea around the whole restoration started. Was really, I can kind of think it was about 2007, 2008. For some reason, I want to say it was more like 2008 that the idea was really, I was really more getting the conceptual idea going. But it took me about a year to kind of get the nerve up to begin, because it's kind of like, even though nobody knew I was doing this, nobody online knew I was doing this, it's kind of like, if I start something, I want to see it through. So I got to know that I have the time to budget to see it all the way through. And it eats, not everybody's like this, but it eats at me if I start something and then it kind of gets away from me, and I get a little apathetic about it, and then it kind of starts affecting I hate to use the word mental health, but that's all I can think of for a term. But then it kind of affects my mental health a little bit, because it's in the back of my mind. Hey, you need to finish that. You started that. You need to finish it. There's nobody in the world that's pressuring me to finish it but myself, I guess. And so it took me a while to, like I said, get everything together and get up the nerve to start. And a lot of that was also acquiring parts, things I knew I was going to need and didn't want to have to wait later once I got in there. So there was a lot of pre-planning for it, and I didn't exactly write scripts, but I had a good outline of how each episode should go, what I wanted to talk about. A lot of the well, now it's called Power Nation or whatever, but really Shade Tree Mechanic from the 90s, if anybody remembers that show on TNN, was something that was in my head. It's like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I want to make it kind of like that show. That seems like that's the show I should make. It's something like that. It's a how-to, informative, and kind of explains as you go. I know nowadays, the way YouTube is, the viewership, sometimes they just want to watch it happen. They're not ever going to do this. Well, I make the video for those that are going to be doers. And if people watch it for entertainment and get more power to them. But that's, that I get a little bit of criticism from those that are like, you talk too much, or no talking, or they don't want the talking and then musical breaks and things like that. Well, I was trying to make it, I was experimenting. It was new. I hadn't seen much on YouTube in this form, and that's why I tried it. I can't exactly say I pioneered it, but I think I helped it along, helped the community along with doing that. And I have seen comments on videos, and I've gotten shout-outs saying, hey, it's because of the Junkman's videos or something that I decided to do this. And like with some of those restoration channels, gosh, some of those are well over 1 million subscribers and such. Now, granted, that's because they are doing it right. And I can only applaud them. A lot of people would think, aren't you jealous and aren't you mad because they're getting all the views and all the subscribers? And I'm like, heck no. I'm elated that other people took an idea and ran with it and made it successful, made a successful channel out of it. I love it. It's why I do YouTube. With my meager 25-ish or whatever I'm at, 23,000 subscribers I think I'm at roughly here, or 28, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm at. And when you watch this archive, if anybody gets this far down the video, but that's the thing. I'm still just like, wow, wow. I have influenced something, and in a very small way. Don't want to toot my horn too much, because there's others out there. But in a very small way, I've made this a viable I don't know if I want to call it a trend, but a viable topic on YouTube, which was really what I set out to do. And the website is show the real crux of how anything, how an item gets restored, rather than this TV manufactured drama reality show version of how a car gets restored or an item gets restored. A lot of it stemmed from you know, those History Channel and Discovery Channel programs. You know, they were neat in the beginning because they were it was kind of a new deal, but it's like, oh sure, they put the little tagline, oh, 3 weeks later or whatever, but they didn't show hardly anything of the work. They didn't show a lot of, I mean, they might have showed a little bit of the craftsmanship, but not the work that created the craftsmanship. That's why I almost can't watch those car restoration shows. Even the ones that don't go get down and heavy into the drama stuff, I just can't. They just don't show enough, and they don't have time to. That kind of format just doesn't lend itself for a 3-month, 4-month project. They just don't. Now YouTube does, because you can get an audience, no matter how small, that'll want to follow along. You know, and even if you do it in real time, I know there's some channels out there, they'll restore something in real time, and granted, life happens and you don't get to that thing for a month. I chose to do mine all in the background, edit it, then release it, so that's why I can have a set schedule. And that's why I have not started a new one, because I just again, I don't want to start it knowing that I can't exactly get it finished. And the toy restorations, that's why I kind of gravitated to that kind of stuff, because they are ones, they're a lot smaller project. They're things, you know, you can bang them out and without too much downtime. Same with the diorama things, and those have been fun to build live and just interact live and all that. So I've kind of gotten. The thing is that those videos, even the time lapse, and this last one I wanted to get it down to about the 10-minute mark, because I thought that might be the most anybody would want to sit and watch something on the time lapse with really not much, if any, well, no commentary. I thought about commentating on them, but then I thought, well, I don't know. Sometimes it's just neat to watch it go. But those don't do very good. So I'm going to stick to doing those live. You know, I could try doing those as a recorded, kind of like Luke Towan does. But I don't feel like I could get that kind of quality. So that'd probably be a lot of work for not a lot of reward on that front there. I would like to get some other motorcycle, like another motorcycle one going, but just takes so much time. I have thought about, okay, well, how about just getting a motorcycle running? We don't have to totally restore it, but let's just get her running. Which I do have a video on how to get an old bike running, and that was another inspiration. There was like, well, let's just show getting it running. We're not gonna fix it up, but in this video, but we're gonna brought it home there. I need to do, and that one is centered around a lot of how to, like, as well. Maybe I need to do it more. Well, this is the project, not stop and be like talk about this, that, and the other. Just show as much work as I can on it. Going into all the detail of, here you go, you need to take the carburetor apart, all that stuff, and taking the carburetor apart. Maybe just have short clips of that, because I did go in pretty detailed on stuff like that, say with the ignition and all that. I don't know. I've kind of thought about that as well. Of course, there's a lot of big channels that have taken that style, and I can't say that maybe my videos didn't influence that a little bit with getting it running, because I do see with car videos that's like, oh, car sitting for 45 years first start kind of thing, or can we make it run? It's like that's the same premise as my getting an old bike running, and I did that way back before it was cool. So I'm hoping that is something that is also those videos are also something that kind of spurred that, because those people that do that go out in the weeds and see if they can get this old truck running, or tractor or whatever it is. Those are pretty neat that people are doing that, and they're maybe making a living on YouTube doing it. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. But anyway, well, we've been streaming here, about 45 minutes, which is about as long as I usually like to, plus I'm on the phone, so